Watching speedrunning attempts live gives viewers a unique perspective on the game that just watching world records and marathon highlights can't replicate. That YouTube video won't show the hundreds, if not thousands of attempts it took to get that run. So on broadcast, runners show much more of the frustrating aspects of speedrunning.
What happened?
And their split data can reflect that. Looking at live split, runners can display useful metrics that help viewers understand how good each attempt is. Beyond that, LiveSplit records even more advanced metrics that can be viewed with a gold subscription to splits.io. Here, you can get a visualization of how often runners reset or lose a large amount of time to each segment. These areas of the game, I think, are the hardest in the run and are the biggest roadblocks to getting a PB or world record attempt going. Here's a pie chart for the most common resets for the current Twilight Princess world record holder. Each of these big pie pieces have very difficult tricks, optimized movement, or RNG barriers in order to continue the run. If you compare this pie chart to my own, or frankly any other runner, you'll see pretty similar trends showing that these segments are problem areas for everyone, not just a single runner. Reset heavy segments like these are the ones that we're going to look at today. Every game has some of these, and today we're going to demystify a few of them. Super Mario 64 is probably the most popular speedrun, and its main category, 120 star, pushes every world to its limit. Runners are required to obtain every star as fast as possible, regardless of length or difficulty. The world that epitomizes this the most is Shifting Sandland. TikTok Clock and Rainbow Ride are notorious, but SSL is like their little brother that doesn't get much attention. It has so many tricks that forces the player to thread the needle in an incredibly hazardous environment. Due to this, you see a lot of resets here before truly getting deep into the run. SSL has 2 stars that farm resets, the first one being Inside the Ancient Pyramid. This star has a runner perform a trick known as Okay, so apparently this trick doesn't have a name. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I'm just gonna call this a bomb slide. When Mario picks up, say, a box, he doesn't actually pick it up. Instead, a fake version of the box appears in Mario's hands while the game still records the location where the box was picked up. During this time, the real box won't be visible or able to react with anything. The location doesn't end up updating until Mario puts the box back down again. An exemption to this rule are bombs. The fake bomb is in Mario's hands while the real bomb is just slightly in front of him. If you pick up an inflated bomb, the bomb's hitbox will collide with Mario, pushing him backwards. Using this, you can get enough momentum to enter the top of the pyramid early. Unlike the Clippy Clip in BOB, it's actually pretty difficult to do this. You have to navigate through pretty hazardous terrain that can instantly kill you or run into a star that's right next to the seam on the pyramid. Up next, the player is treated to what Simply calls the hardest star in 120, free flying for 8 red coins. As the title suggests, this star tasks the runner to collect 2 coins near the starting area, 4 coins placed along pillars around the pyramid, and finally 2 coins in the Tox Box maze. The route involves 3 tricky advanced movements known as speed actions. Sliding down a slope gives Mario a lot of momentum. Normally, when you hit a flat surface again, Mario will slow down. However, if you perform an action immediately when you reach the flat surface, Mario will keep his speed and carries it through the next action. This can be done with a variety of actions like the speed slide, speed kick, and speed wing techniques. All of these techniques allow Mario to keep a significant amount of speed to get him to each coin the fastest. Unfortunately, these strats kind of put you in situations where you're forced to either hit a frame perfect input or die and lose the run. Like SM64, Metroid Prime has a speedrun, which is highly reliant on movement techniques and precise speed management. Scan dashing, bunny hopping, and LRR jumping serve the function of not only traversing Talon 4 as fast as possible, but also allowing you to access areas well before you're supposed to. A huge function for these abilities is moving while out of bounds. Secret worlds, as they're called by the Prime community, refer to traveling between rooms outside the confines of the normal environment. Optimally, this is done several times during the run, and in order to quickly travel to their destination, runners will need a complete understanding of the structure of rooms and overall map design. Samus is able to stand on pretty much any collision that has a somewhat flat surface. Because of this, she can reach holes around the map and get out of bounds fairly easily. However, you can't travel too far away from the room. You could think of every room in Talon 4 to be inside of a box. If you stray too far away from the room, Samus will fall to the bottom of the box. If she's in Morph Ball form, she'll fall forever. Once out of bounds, runners will carefully hop around the collision to get to the end of the room and continue on to the next. Of course, getting to the next room requires it to be loaded, which only happens when specific checkpoints in the room have been reached. These loading planes are accessible out of bounds, but make the movement pretty tricky, especially since many of them require Samus to enter Morph Ball mode, risking a potential run-ending fall. All of the out of bounds movement requires this type of finesse, but these skills are tested the most in Metroid Prime's hardest segment, Exo Skip. After Samus collects 12 Chozo artifacts scattered around the map, you gain access to the Impact Crater where you fight Metroid Prime. The initial phase is divided by 4 rooms called subchambers. Once you've done enough damage in a subchamber, Metroid Prime will blast through the wall, sending you into the next room. This fight is incredibly tedious, with the last subchamber also being RNG dependent. By manipulating the AI of a Metroid, you can bait it into pushing Samus out of bounds. Next, the runner has to perform extremely precise movement not only to properly load the next subchamber, but also to traverse quickly in the out of bounds area without getting stuck. This trick is so precise that any slight misstep throughout your time in the Impact Crater can cause the Metroid AI to behave incorrectly, making the clip slow or impossible. Movement out of bounds is just as precise. Runners must be very intentional with their movements or else suffer a fall that will lose the run right before the finish line. Doing this is a lot more complicated than watching it makes it seem, and way more complex than I could explain in the scope of this video. So I'm going to point everybody to some resources to learn more about these segments in the description below. They're written or recorded or whatever have you by experts within each game. If you have ideas for some other really difficult parts of speedrunning that you'd like me to make more digestible, let me know. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you want more of me, might I suggest clicking on one of these videos on the screen.